Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll uncover the secrets of data filters in SFMC. In this beginner series, we'll see what data filters are, how it is a crucial aspects of efficient managing and utilizing your data. You can come to my blog at amscriptify.blogspot.com and you can read my blog on data filters. Data filters are a crucial aspect of efficient managing and utilizing your data to tailor your marketing campaigns for optimal performance. And what I've seen in most of the time, data filters is highly underrated. But if you start using data filters and if you understand the basics of the data filters, you will find it to be very efficient, very useful in your Salesforce Marketing Cloud journey. So, without wasting any more time, let me directly jump to our Salesforce instance and show you the demo. So, here is our Marketing Cloud instance. Let me jump to Email Studio. Under subscribers, you can go to data extensions. Under the customer profile folder, I have created three different data extensions. One is users, other one is orders, and the third one is addresses. So first, before moving to data filters, first let us understand the attributes that define users. Here, I have created 5 different attributes for users, where the user ID is the primary key. We have first name, last name, email, and gender. Now, let's create data filters. So, under subscribers, navigate to data filters. Let's create one folder and let's give a name called groupings. Click on create. We're creating filters on data extension, and the data extension that we would be selecting would be our users data extension. So I'm going to select users and click on OK. Now from this window, we can basically define our filter criteria that we want to segment the users into different categories. So let's say we want to segment our users based on gender. I would drag and drop this attribute and say gender is equal to male and click on save. Give a name, male users. Select the folder where you want to save the filters and click on save. Now you have an option to create a data extension based on this particular filter, that is gender equals to male. So if you want to create a data extension, click on create data extension, give a name, male users, select the location where you want to save the data extension and click on save. Now let's go back and create another filter. Select the data extension, select the data extension from which you want to create a filter. So here I'm again selecting users. Similarly, here I want to segment users based on the email domain. So I'll drag this email attribute and say contains example.com. Let's save this filter and click on save. If you want to basically add more filters, you can click on edit, and let's say I want to filter on first name come, and the first name say begins with A. Let's say I want to basically define a condition where the email address contains example.com and first name begins with A. Or I can say email address contains example.com or first names begins with A. Let me save this and let me create a data extension. Select the location and click on save. We got 10 records here because every email address domain is example.com. So if you have to update this filter, you have to click on edit and modify to and then click on save and refresh. So now you can see now we have only one records. Say you want all the users where the first name contains A, not begins with A. So what I can do is click on edit and update this to say contains and save and refresh. Now you can see we have 8 records. By the way, this particular filter is not saved. We are just updating with respect to this data extension. So if you want to save this as a filter, you can click on save as filter, give a name and select the folder where you want to save the data filter and click on save. Let's go back to the data filters and see we have created 3 different filters. Now the most interesting aspects of data filter, I'm going to show you defining data relationship between different data extensions. We started our discussion based on these 3 different data extensions, and I have created these 3 different data extensions to define our relationship between them. So first let's understand the attributes. Under users, I have user ID as the primary key and the other properties that defines the users. For orders, I have the order ID as the primary key and user ID as the foreign key relationship with the users. And I have the addresses where I have the address ID as the primary key and user ID as the foreign key to the users. So before defining the relationship, we have to understand normalization. And if you don't understand normalization, sometimes your data filters might not work as expected. So it would always be prudent on your part to first normalize your data structure with respect to your different data extensions, define the relationship, and then define the filters. Here, in these three different data extensions, I have one to many relationship with users and orders. A user might have multiple orders, and a user might have multiple addresses. So, for example, here, if you see the user ID, right? So, order number one and order number two is for user one. Similarly, 7 and 8 is for user 7, right? And if I go to addresses, similarly, if you see here, address ID 2 and 3 belongs to user ID 2. Now let's go back to our email studio. Under subscribers, let's go to data relationship. Click on create to define our data relationship. So I've given users and name as the name and external key. Here you can select the data extension. Let's select the data extension as users, and from here I'm going to select orders. You see the relationship, it is bind by the user ID of the users, and from the orders it is picking the user ID. If the attribute names are different that you are using, you can click on the drop down and select any other attributes that you want to. And let me save this data relationship. Let me create one more data relationship between users and addresses. Fine, and click on save. Now we have created two data relationship, one on users and orders, on the one on users and addresses. Now we'll show you how you can leverage data relationship to create the data filters. So let's create a data filter on user as the source data extension. So I'm selecting users, and if you expand this data relationship, you'll find all the data relationships that we have defined. So this one defines the relationship with the addresses, and this one defines orders. So let's say I want to define a data filter where total amount is greater than 50, right? And I would say gender equals to female. Let's save this filter and say valued users. Fine. And let's click on save. Let's create another filter. Define a filter based on addresses. So state equals to CA, and let's save this. Let's create another filter. Now here in this third example, I'm going to leverage both the relationship. So if I expand this, I'll say find all those users whose order date is before, say, 2nd of October and whose amount 100, I'll say less than or equal to 100, and city, what's the city we have? Atlanta. Let's select Atlanta. Fine. And save this and click on save. Let's say I want to edit this filter. I want to group this into, this is the ordered value. So ordered value is less than equal to 100, and the order is done before 2nd of October, or the user is from Atlanta. And let's save this. Let me just test this to create a data extension. I give data extension as DE1. Select the data extension folder and click on save. Let's first see the condition. Order date before 2nd October and amount is equal to or less than 100. So we got John, David, Ryan, Mark. Okay, so let's see John. John user ID is 1. Let's see the orders made by John. I have two orders for John. One is 75, one is 105, 100.5. And the purchase date here, if you see, this one satisfies the condition. That's why John has added to this data extension. Similarly, those filters, whatever filter conditions that is defined here, if this condition satisfies, those will be added here. So let's say who is from Atlanta. So Atlanta, okay, sorry, address. So Atlanta is 9. 9 is Mark. So Mark was also there in the data extension. Here, because he falls into the category of the people who are from Atlanta, right? So if you see this or equals to Atlanta, we have Mark. Let's go back to our data filter. So we have almost created 6. Let me create one more. Select the source as users, female. And save this. So now we have created 7 different data filters. Now, if we want to basically automate this process so that we don't have to manually keep on refreshing the filters. For example, let me duplicate this tab. And go to the data extension. So for example, this D1, currently we have 4 records. If I have to basically bring the new sets of records into this data extension, when I basically update or modify this master Ds, I have to manually keep on refreshing this data extension through this refresh button, right? So instead of doing this manual approach, what we can do is we can automate this. So let me duplicate this tab. Let's navigate to Journey Builder, select Automation Studio, click on New Automation, schedule this automation, configure, and click on Done. Now I want to create a filter activity that refreshes the data extension on an hourly basis. So I'll drag this filter activity. How many data filters we have created till now? We have 7 filters. So let me drag 7 filters. 7. Click on choose and click on create new filter. Select the folder groupings and you'll see all those filters. Click on any of the data filters and give the name. Let's say I'll say this is grouping 1, group 1. Give the external key. Select next. Give the name of the data filter that you want to create for this group. So I say group 1. So group 1 belongs to the category of budget valued users and click on finish. Similarly, create another filter, highly valued users. Let me give group 2. Click next, finish, and then similarly I'll complete all these filters. Now you can see I have created all the 7 groups, and let me give a name for this automation as groupings. Click on done, click on save. Once you have configured this automation, you can go back to the data extension and refresh this data extension, and you'll see all the data extensions are created, which are basically filter data extensions. So whenever you're configuring the automation, at the time of the configuration, whenever you define this filter, the data extension gets created. Fine. So currently, if you see the number of records, all are 0. The record counts are 0. Fine. So let me save this automation and let me run this once. Select all activities, run once. Let's run this automation. Started running. You can see the first step has been completed. All the 3, group 1, group 2, group 3 has been completed. If you want to validate, you can refresh here and you can see group 1, group 2, group 3. And you can see the record count 416. Second set is completed. You can do the same, refresh it, and you can see 4, 5, 6. Right? And the automation is complete. You can again refresh and see even the group 7 has been updated to 2 records. Right? So if you want to validate what was this group 7, basically give the same name as the data filters. It becomes easier what filter actually you have applied. So here from the automation, if you click on edit, and you can see it was valued users. So, what are the valued users here? Those users basically whose ordered amount is greater than 50 and who belongs to the gender female. Here we have Sarah and Amanda. So, this is the valued addition to Salesforce Marketing Cloud segmentation. And I believe if you properly utilize data filters with data relationship, and keep in mind the data relationship that you are maintaining between different data extension has to be in a normalized structure. So you don't have to write a query, you can create segments based on data filters. Obviously, the last caveat is SQL is more performant. SQL is SQL, what many people say, right? I am also a technical person and I also always prefer SQL. But saying that, data filters work wonders. I hope you like this video. If you like the video or if you have any query or concerns or clarifications, write a comment on the video. I will try to answer all your clarifications. Thank you for watching the video. See you next time.